Hello, fellow gamers! July 2026 is shaping up to be an interesting month for indie fans. I found 25 incredible upcoming titles that deserve a spot right at the top of your wishlist. Let's get straight into it. Moonlight Peaks takes the beloved cozy farming blueprint and gives it a delightfully gothic, supernatural twist. Instead of your standard human farmer, you are stepping into your new eternal life as a vampire in a magical town. What makes this one stand out is how it leans into its spooky themes without losing that heartwarming, comforting charm. You will be raising mystical crops under the night sky, mastering ancient spells, and brewing potions. But the real heart of the game lies in its vibrant community. The town is bustling with werewolves, witches, and mermaids to befriend, or even romance. It's got a gorgeous art style and a refreshing supernatural perspective on the life sim genre. If you've been waiting for Stardew Valley meets the Addams Family, this needs to be on your radar. Doom, the Dark Ages Revelations campaign expansion, dropping on July 7th, is a massive event for the entire FPS community. According to game director Hugo Martin, this DLC is so huge, it basically feels like a sequel. It's doubling down on the heavy combat feel of the base game, while introducing light Metroidvania elements and more open levels to explore. The star of the show is the new Chain Spear, a devastating weapon that lets you hook into enemies, levitate, and even deflect bullets. Combine that with the brutal new Uber Boss and the Ripitorium 3.0 Arena update, and this looks to be an absolute masterclass in pure, vicious action. If you're ready to rip and tear through a frozen demonic purgatory, your July is booked. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is bringing Edward Kenway's legendary pirate adventure to modern platforms on July 9th. While technically a major studio release, its focus on classic, solo action-adventure gaming makes it a vital title to watch this month. This isn't a simple paint job remaster. It's a ground-up remake built on the latest Anvil engine. It introduces modernized, parry-focused swordplay, vastly smoother parkour, and a completely overhauled naval combat system. Ubisoft Singapore has also axed the original modern-day Abstergo interruptions, keeping the focus entirely on the golden age of piracy. With brand new narrative quests exploring the backstories of historical legends like Blackbeard and Stede Bonnet, this is the definitive way to sail the Caribbean. Echoes of Aincrad takes the tense fantasy world of Sword Art Online and channels it into a deeply cooperative, action-focused indie RPG. You are dropped into Aincrad, a floating castle of immense beauty but brutal danger, where every single combat encounter could genuinely be your last. The core hook here is the partner system. Success isn't just about high stats, it's about building tactical synergy with your companion, executing precisely timed combos, and unlocking special abilities that drastically expand your combat options. With an emphasis on choosing your gear carefully and mastering tight, punishing combos, it captures that desperate, thrilling feeling of fighting to survive floor by floor. If you've been looking for an atmospheric, challenging RPG to tackle with a friend, this needs to be on your wishlist. Ascend to Zero turns time itself into your greatest tactical weapon. Set in a future where humanity has been wiped out by a brutal mechanical invasion, you play as the final survivor, traveling back in time to rewrite history. The core hook is beautifully frantic. Each run gives you a tight 30-second clock to eliminate waves of killer robots. However, at the press of a button, you can completely freeze the world around you. This turns an intense, bullet heaven hack and slash into a strategic turn-based puzzle where you line up perfect dodges, collect dropped upgrades, and preserve those precious remaining seconds. Taking damage slashes your time limit, keeping the stakes nail-bitingly high. Combined with rapid RPG stat inflation and over 200 items to customize your build, this looks incredibly addictive. Neko Station looks to be the perfect companion for cozy game fans who want something charming running in the background. It is an idle 2D pixel art experience where you manage your very own cat train, and it's all about low-stress, maximum comfort vibes. The primary gameplay loop involves decorating the train with cozy furniture, cat trees, and toys to attract a massive, diverse cast of unique feline passengers. You will pull into various colorful stations, pick up new furry friends, and slowly build up your relationships with them over time. Because it functions as a desktop companion game, you can let it run lazily while you work or study, checking in to collect currency and pet your passengers. It's an elegantly animated, heartwarming slice of pure comfort. Ledgerbound asks the ultimate fantasy question: what happens when the chosen hero is actually just an insurance adjuster fighting for a corporate promotion? Coming from former Helldivers 2 developers, this is a brilliantly satirical, narrative-driven tactical RPG launching on July 14th. Instead of an edgy lone wolf, you lead a ragtag group of coworkers through grid-based battles against an immortal foe. The twist? Workplace culture dictates everything. You manage your quest-life balance, use company vouchers to boost stats, and navigate mandatory HR-approved office romances featuring an all-star voice cast. If you fail, the world ends. But worse, you lose your job. Blending tight turn-based combat with sharp workplace comedy, it looks like an absolute gem for strategy fans. D-topia offers a fascinating, slightly unsettling twist on the gentle puzzle adventure. In this stylized world, human life is entirely curated by an artificial intelligence designed to maximize absolute happiness. You step into the role of the newest facilitator, and it is your job to solve intricate, logic-based puzzles to ensure the facility keeps running smoothly and the residents stay blissfully content. What makes this one intriguing is the subtle narrative tension humming underneath its clean, soothing aesthetic. As you manipulate the environments to fix the AI's algorithms, you will slowly start to question what perfect happiness actually costs. It's got a wonderfully calm pace, clever brain teasers, and a brilliant dystopian undertone that fans of thoughtful puzzle games will love. The Mound Omen of Cthulhu drops you and up to 3 friends right into a nightmare of Lovecraftian proportions. It is a 4-player co-op horror exploration game that leans heavily into psychological dread and survival. You form a group of bold explorers venturing into a cursed jungle in search of lost treasures, but the environment itself is your enemy. Eldritch, monstrous creatures stalk you from the shadows, and their very presence physically alters reality around you, distorting your vision and twisting the terrain. The core mechanic revolves around managing your sanity. You have to stay clear-headed, communicate constantly, and try to tame the maddening jungle before it completely devours your mind. If you love tense co-op horror with a heavy dose of cosmic dread, keep an eye on this one. Denshattack looks like an absolute shot of pure adrenaline. Imagine Jet Set Radio mixed with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but instead of a skateboard, you are pulling off physics-defying stunts with a literal train. Set in a vibrant, hyper-stylized Japanese dystopia, you're tasked with taking back the tracks from rival transit gangs and a corrupt megacorporation. The gameplay loop is fast, kinetic, and completely off the rails. You will be flipping, tricking, and grinding massive trains along rails, walls, and roller coaster-like loops, building up speed and style multipliers as you go. With its cel-shaded art style, booming electronic soundtrack, and sheer chaotic sense of momentum, this is easily one of the most uniquely creative action arcade games dropping this month. MineGeon Renegades delivers a brilliant loop that blends the wild dodging of a sci-fi bullet hell with the addictive pull of deep resource harvesting. Launching on July 14th, this lets you dive into the subterranean depths of the dying planet Paimo, either flying solo or teaming up with up to 2 friends in online co-op. You choose from 3 unique character classes, including a high DPS gunslinger and a resilient tank, and head beneath the surface to break blocks, mine precious minerals, and fend off aggressive alien scavengers. The real twist here is how it tests your group dynamic. You vote together on your path using ancient monoliths, but a push your luck mechanic forces you to decide when to securely ship your mined ore back to the base and when to dig deeper for greater rewards. It's tight, chaotic, and heavily emphasizes build synergy. Funnel Runners takes the intense panic of Lethal Company and mixes it with the terrifying raw power of extreme weather survival. This first-person co-op game traps you and up to 7 friends inside a doomed, crumbling city with a massive, catastrophic tornado rapidly approaching. Your mission is simple but incredibly stressful. You have roughly 20 minutes to scramble through buildings, scavenge critical vehicle parts, and fix up your getaway van before the storm obliterates everything. The real star here is the total environmental destruction. Buildings collapse piece by piece in real time. Completely dynamic storms alter the map, and a proximity voice chat means you will literally hear your teammates' screams fading into the distance as they get swept up by the wind. It looks like fun co-op chaos. Moss, the Forgotten Relic, promises to be an absolute treat for fans of rich, narrative-driven adventure. Set entirely within the beautifully illustrated pages of a living storybook, this game immediately captivates you with its deeply emotional atmosphere, ancient mythologies, and sense of magic. You are tasked with guiding a tiny but incredibly determined mouse on a heartfelt journey that is as much about emotional connection as it is about overcoming obstacles. The visual presentation looks stunning, blending a classic fairy tale aesthetic with responsive platforming and clever environmental puzzles. If you appreciate games that tell a genuinely touching story while delivering a polished, immersive world filled with wonder and courage, this is one upcoming adventure you definitely won't want to overlook. Fogpiercer is what happens when you cross the train-building logistics of Slay the Spire with the tight, predictive spatial puzzles of Into the Breach. Published by Hooded Horse, this sci-fi roguelike deck builder drops you into a world swallowed by a deadly, toxic smog. Your entire deck is dictated by your train's physical layout. Choosing different locomotives, armor carriages, and specialized gun cars injects unique action cards directly into your deck. Battles play out on a grid flanking your track, where enemy bandits telegraph their exact moves. Success depends heavily on using artillery blasts to shove enemies into oncoming environmental hazards, forcing them to collide with each other, or simply ramming them down with your train. If you love deep tactical synergy and rewarding chain reactions, this needs to be on your list. ZeroSpace is an absolute dream come true for anyone who has been starving for a massive, high-production, real-time strategy revival. Dropping into Steam Early Access on July 20th, this ambitious project blends the tight, responsive macro management of traditional RTS base building with a sprawling, cinematic sci-fi RPG campaign. As the commander of the Protectorate, you are thrown straight into a brutal, multi-faction power struggle spanning the entire Orion sector. What sets this apart is the narrative depth. Your conversational choices and moral decisions actively shape the campaign's direction, mimicking a heavy BioWare-style RPG. It features gorgeous hero units with unique abilities, over 90 distinct military units, and a massive, persistent co-op mode called Galactic War, where every win directly shifts a shared galactic map. This is a monumentally massive indie effort. Tears of Metal is effectively being described by the community as a Scottish Dynasty Warriors, and it looks absolutely incredible. This comes from Paper Cult, the talented team behind Bloodroots. You are tasked with leading a formidable Scottish battalion to reclaim your war-torn island after a mysterious dragon meteor crashes down, bringing a brutal invading force with it. The gameplay is all about satisfying large-scale hack-and-slash carnage, allowing you to slice through massive hordes of enemies either solo or in co-op across 45 handcrafted environments. Between your bloody campaigns, you will head back to your settlement to buy permanent upgrades, expand shops, and recruit new troops who gain their own permanent skills. It's got a striking art style, over 100 artifacts to break your builds, and an incredibly unique historical fantasy hook. DragonSword Awakening is a fascinating game with an incredible backstory. Originally built as a live service mobile gacha game, developer Hound13 completely broke away from their publisher, stripped out every single microtransaction, and transformed it into a premium, buy-to-play, single-player action RPG built in Unreal Engine 5. DragonSword sends you across the gorgeously vibrant open world of Orbis to stop a reawakened dragon threat. The gameplay loop is deeply reminiscent of Genshin Impact or Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, focusing on a massive roster of 19 unique heroes that you unlock entirely through story progression. The main hook is the switch action system. You stack specific elemental status ailments on a boss, then swap characters at the perfect moment to trigger massive combo chains. It is visually stunning, entirely manual, and a massive win for players who want a high-quality anime open world completely free of paywalls. Past the Fear is an incredibly stylish 2D top-down action roguelike. The premise drops you into an absolute nightmare. A sudden witch's disaster has completely sealed off an island behind a corrupting, impenetrable wall of storms, and you play as a demon hunter who has exactly 12 hours to blast a path to freedom before dawn breaks. What makes this stand out is its emphasis on build variety. You aren't just dodging bullet hell patterns, you're actively breaking the meta with a deeply satisfying weapon modding and Relic system. You can stack bullet trajectories to become an explosive fireworks master, or collect tarot cards to lean into high-risk, single-hit nuke builds. It features a great cast of unique characters, full online co-op support, and a fast, arcade-like rhythm that fans of Enter the Gungeon should definitely pay attention to. Avatar Legends, the fighting game, is looking like an absolute dream come true for the fighting game community and Avatar fans alike. While it's backed by Paramount, the game is being crafted with incredible boutique care by Gameplay Group International. This is a blistering fast, competitive fighter that brings characters from both The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra to a shared stage. The standout element here is the sheer visual artistry. It features breathtaking, hand-drawn 2D animation that replicates over 900 frames of animation per character to perfectly mimic the show's martial arts style. Meaningfully, it is built for serious competition, utilizing proprietary rollback netcode and full crossplay out of the box. With its clever system featuring distinct bending stances and dynamic assist types, this is set to be a major highlight of July. Rubinite looks like a magnificent treat for the Sekiro and Devil May Cry fans who live for skill-based duels. This dark fantasy action game trims away the filler map exploration to focus purely on an intense, punishing boss rush structure. You follow Ruby, a fallen princess who escapes the Scarlet Kingdom and returns on a bloody quest for revenge against corrupted blood recipients. The definitive mechanic here is the focus system. Instead of standard mindless hacking, you must read enemy animations, execute perfect dodges, and use focus to pinpoint explicit structural weaknesses before unleashing fatal, high-impact thrust attacks. Defeating these monstrosities allows you to absorb their pure blood, empowering you to craft specialized talismans and customize your playstyle. Coupled with gorgeous pixel art, it looks beautifully brutal. Security 51 takes the meticulous document-checking stress of Papers, Please and dunks it straight into a bucket of cosmic paranoia. Coming from publisher Alawar, this atmospheric horror simulation places you at the ultimate gates of secrecy, the underground bunker checkpoint of Area 51. Your day job is straightforward on paper. Verify identification badges, check clearance levels, cross-examine verbal orders, and manage the personnel elevator heading down into the miles-deep research facility. However, anomaly and paranoia creep into every single shift. You will have to keep an eye out for slurred speech, unnervingly flawless paperwork, or the terrifying moment when an elevator arrives completely empty on camera but opens up with an employee standing inside. As you unlock deeper verification tools like fingerprinting and blood tests, you will slowly realize that the things trying to leave might not even be human anymore. Mistfall Hunter is shaping up to be an absolute powerhouse for anyone who loves the high stakes of Dark and Darker, but craves the fluid third-person combat of a modern Souls-like. This dark fantasy extraction action RPG drops you into a shattered world where the gods have perished and a corrupting fog called the Gildan Mist rules supreme. Playing solo or teaming up in squads of 3, you step into the boots of a guild hunter. The gameplay is incredibly tense. You venture into the ruins, combining class skills, deep talent trees, and specialized gear to fight off grotesque, mutated monsters and conquer massive bosses. But the real danger comes from other players. It is a true PvP and PvE extraction experience, meaning you have to battle your way to hidden extraction bells to secure your legendary loot haul. If you fall in the mist, you lose everything. SpeedRunners 2, King of Speed, brings back one of the greatest local and online party games ever made, and it's raising the stakes considerably. This sequel expands the cutthroat, side-scrolling momentum race to support up to 8 players online simultaneously. The core loop remains brilliantly simple, yet incredibly high skill. You must outrun, outjump, and outsmart your rivals across meticulously designed maps where getting left off screen means instant elimination. You will be using grappling hooks to swing around corners, deploying powerful weapon pickups to disrupt the leaders, and maintaining your speed multipliers on a razor's edge. With crossplay fully supported out of the gate, it's bound to reignite some legendary friend group rivalries. Lunarium looks like an incredibly special treat for players who want a demanding isometric action RPG but crave a more deeply poetic, melancholy atmosphere. Coming from an incredibly talented Chinese indie studio, this fantasy adventure focuses heavily on an evocative journey through a decaying, ruined world. You step into the boots of Av, a nimble, light-armored knight who forms a close bond and teams up with Lune, a highly mysterious being known as a starfarer. The core gameplay blends challenging, rhythmic combat combat and precise, Souls-like dodges with a deeply emotional, slow-burn narrative. As you fight your way through gorgeous, atmospheric environments to retrieve the lost glow of the stars and piece together forsaken memories, you will uncover massive cosmic secrets. It's a game that respects your intelligence, focusing on a relationship built on trust and presence rather than just raw, noisy spectacle. Lootbound is a brilliant treat for anyone who spends way too much time organizing their inventory grid in games like Diablo 2 or Resident Evil 4. Launching on PC on July 31st, this puzzle-centric indie title completely turns loot management into your primary weapon. You start every run entirely solo, moving across a branching map to weigh calculated risks, roll dice for rewards, and slowly recruit up to 2 companions. The magic is in the item auras. Items don't just grant flat stats, they physically project geometric auras that empower adjacent equipment in your grid. Success means playing a risky game of Tetris, min-maxing your party's layout to trigger armor destruction, direct damage, or penetration builds. Combined with tough, honest, turn-based combat where your tactical mistakes follow you to the very end, it turns sorting your backpack into an incredibly rewarding art form. And that wraps up our look at 25 incredible indie games heading your way this July 2026. Which of these titles are you adding to your wish list? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on the best upcoming indie gems. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.